All right, welcome back. And it has been a while since I've put anything on this channel. Car has been sitting since the fall. I think I took it out and drove it on a nice day in November when we had a nice day, but other than that, it's been largely sitting, and I haven't gotten any projects done on this thing that I really wanted to get started. It's now mid-January, and it's time to get things started. So we're gonna jump into it. I'm not sure exactly what we'll cover in this video. I know I need to start with the radiator here. I found, as it's been sitting, it has a little pinhole leak and it's weeping out the back of the radiator. It's not actually from a strike in the front. The pinhole's actually in the back of the radiator, so a little weird, but I need to yank that out and take it to a shop to get it welded up, because I am terrible at welding aluminum. So we need to pull that out and get that fixed. So we're going to start there and then see what else we get to in this video. I'm not sure how many weeks this will cover. It is about 5 degrees outside Fahrenheit right now, so it is super chilly. I've got the heater cranking in the garage, and it's warm enough to work. Still a little cold, thus the beanie on my head, but let's get started. All right, got that yanked out of there. Didn't take very long. So I will get this radiator shipped off to the shop. Well, I got word back from the radiator repair shop that that radiator is not repairable. So let me talk you through what they told me and what I'm going to do about it. So I had to order a new one. It's the exact same Griffin radiator, so it'll fit right in there. And what was actually leaking is the connection point between these cross tubes, I don't know what they're called, and the ends here. They crack and then they start to weep, and that's not something that they can repair where right there where it meets. So had to buy a new one. And what they said was, because of the way I have this mounted, solid mounted, is that over time the vibrations are going to cause these to crack. So this lasted, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, but I'm going to continue to have this problem unless I address the vibrations. So I got some of these. I've got 2 different thicknesses of these rubber standoffs that will absorb the vibrations. And on here, when it was built, when my tube guy built it, he put this plate, and then he put this, like it's a 1-inch square, I think, tubing, welded it here, and then the radiator mounts on the back here. So I'm going to cut this out. There's really no reason for this 1-inch tubing. I think it was just to space the radiator back some for clearance issues. So I'm cutting this square tubing out, and then the standoffs will be roughly the same thickness. I've got 2 different thicknesses to play with, but we'll be able to mount those rubber standoffs here, and on the other side, and mount it in. So I got to get to grinding and cutting to cut all this out.
Can't
cut out a little extra material, just might as well save a pound or two up front here on both sides, and that 1-inch square tube is gone. So I'm gonna start mocking up the radiator. I might see if I can raise it up just a little bit to make sure that the top of the radiator is above any of the water in the engine, so that the high point is the radiator. It actually might already be. I never really seriously checked that before, but it's pretty close if it is above the highest point in the engine for water. So I'm going to see if I can maybe raise it up and just kind of mess with mounting, maybe even pull it forward a little bit just so I have a little bit extra room behind the radiator for the fans, because it's pretty tight back there.
Keeps pushing, I keep running. No tomorrow, just this moment. With you here now, nothing matters but this feeling as we fly. Slow down, baby, hold on, we can't slow down. Can't slow down, got my foot down on the gas now, till the end now. Can't slow down, got my foot down on the gas now, till the end now. Can't slow down. You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Well, I went to start this thing up. Well, actually, not start the car, but cycle the water pump, since it's an electric water pump and I don't actually need to start the engine, to flush the cooling system as I filled it up for this new radiator, and discovered I have a serious problem. I parked this, December. I think I drove it in December, and that's not happy. I've got meltage going on there, so something dead shorted. It looks like this wire is crispy here. Maybe this relay went bad. I'm gonna have to test some fuses and check some stuff here. But I need to sort that out, and that is crispy. I'm glad that this thing didn't burn down. So I'll get this sorted out. I did, as soon as I saw it, actually before I shot this video, I saw it, and then a couple days ago, and got online and ordered a new, bigger, more beefy brick. But I need to figure out what's going on here. Yeah, this line looks super crispy here. Let me see what I got going on. Well, I got it all swapped out. I went to this much larger, more robust bus bar. Cleaned up the wiring a little bit. I know it's not, hugely better, but I hooked everything back up, and it's all working like it should. I thought maybe this had failed. I can't explain why, it failed, but it definitely failed. Let me show you here. I can't explain why it failed, but it failed catastrophically. So this cover was over here. This was like this, actually, and this is melted. You can see plastic melted, and it's melted out the back of that. And this block got hot, very hot, because you can see like had nice square edges like these two did. And it's rounded off. So this thing got very hot. Main power from the battery came in here. There was one of these tabs coming across to connect those two, and there was just like this, there was a little Allen headed screw that connected these. So this thing got very hot. I don't know if it's just continually pulling too much amperage, and over time it just got hotter and weaker, and on the last drive it just got too hot, and by the time I was done, it was done. I can't explain it, but I hooked up all the power in here and turned various things on. I haven't started the car yet, but turned various things on and touched various wires, and everything is nice and cool. So, not entirely sure why it's having problems, but I was able to get it on, run the water pump, the electric water pump, so that I could bleed the system. So that is all ready to go now, and we can move on to something else. And then I will obviously pay very close attention to this system the first time I start it up and check everything over really well. Okay, that's all thrown in there. I did move the fan that was on this side up a little bit, so they're both in line here for some clearance on the oil cooler that's on the backside that was really tight clearance. I pulled I had an expansion tank and an overflow tank, and then this was not a pressurized cap before. The pressurized cap was in the expansion tank. So to simplify things, remove a little weight, I pulled out the expansion tank. So we just have the kind of overflow tank, and then the hose running from here to the overflow tank. So that'll probably pull out 10 pounds or so. So that should be ready to go pretty much. And the next thing I'm going to work on is manual brakes. I am going to switch to manual brakes. Never driven a car with manual brakes, so this should be an interesting experiment. But the car is only 2,600-ish pounds, 2,650, something in that range. So it's light, and everything that I researched says manual brakes for race cars is the way to go. So I went to manualbrakes.com. They do manual brakes for C4s, and gave them a call, talked to them, and they sent me 7/8 inch bore manual brake setup, which was what they recommended. So I'm going to pull this apart. A couple reasons. One, this Gen 5 LT series engine already has an issue creating vacuum. The Gen 5s on the trucks, they actually run a extra vacuum booster right on the block to create extra vacuum because there's a lack of vacuum from these engines. Then I've cammed it, which has made the problem even worse. This engine does not generate much vacuum because of its efficiency. So when I first got this in, I had an issue. If you go back many videos, I had an issue where the brakes weren't that good. So then back here, I'm running an extra vacuum pump and a vacuum canister to help create vacuum, and that's all run up the side. This box is in the way and I've got junk all in here, but there's vacuum line running up the side and up to the booster. So we are gonna shed, I don't know, 10, 15 pounds back here and a little bit of weight on the front since we're gonna delete the booster, simplify the system, hopefully get better brake feel out of the whole thing, and not worry about whether or not I have vacuum at the time, because if I'm doing a bunch of braking, that vacuum pump and canister can run out of vacuum, and then I am light on vacuum, which means that the pedal feel from time to time can change, and that's not something you want on the racetrack. So we're going to simplify, have a consistent feel, and go to manual brakes. Let's start pulling this out. Again, this is a 95 chassis C4. And so for anyone who's doing this, I pulled the master cylinder off. It's two 13s. Obviously you pull the brake lines off of that side, and then two 13s. So that came off, and those 13s were threaded here. And then there's another set of 13s that hold the booster on the same studs that are coming out of here. So you got to pull those off, and then there's a clip attaching this end to your brake pedal underneath. So unclip that. This whole assembly comes out. And then I'm guessing I'm going to unthread these. I don't need this bracket anymore either. So we'll start unbolting this. Obviously, I've got a proportioning valve here. I'm actually switched to a different style proportioning valve, and these are custom routing for my brake lines because I deleted ABS on this a couple years ago. Let's get to pulling this some more apart. It looks like this comes with this adapter plate here that's got to get thrown on there. So let me pull this off and then see how that fits on there. Things to note, the stock master cylinder has the lines come in from this side. This one comes in from the outside, driver's side. So I'll have to rerun lines, which I was planning on doing anyway, so not that big of a deal. I am changing from this single, this is a proportioning valve just on the rear. So it just changes the flow to the rear. And I'm changing to a more balanced 5-port proportioning valve that takes the front and rear in here. And then there are 2 front outs and a rear out. So I'll have to run lines from both the front wheels, left and right. So fresh lines will get run there. And then I will probably just plumb in a fitting from the rear here up to this. I might run the fresh line all the way back. We'll see. But I need to figure out where I'm going to mount this. I'm also doing on this, I've already taken a vise or some pliers and pulled this off. This knob is Loctited on here. And I am going to a remote. So this will thread in place here, thread on there. And then on the inside of the cab will be this knob that will allow me to adjust the brake bias from inside the vehicle on the fly so that I can get this dialed in just right. And honestly, because of the adjustable rear wing, when this thing is in autocross mode and full up, I should be able to put more bias into the rear because it's going to shove the rear end down more, and which means I can put more brake in the rear. So this will allow me to adjust this on the fly. But all that means running lots of brake lines. So I think I'm going to figure out where I want to mount this first and then start running the lines from the master cylinder to the adjuster. Got that mounted up on that bracket now, and I am not able to locate my 3/16 inch nickel plated copper line, so I can run these to the ports here. So I'm gonna order that. I think I have some around the garage somewhere, but I don't know. I've been looking for a half hour, can't find it. So going to order up some more line and the right fittings so I can run that there. And then I'll probably essentially bench bleed both of these together. I'll take my hoses out of the bottom here and route it to the top and then bleed them both together. But in the meantime, I can keep moving along. So instructions, got to pull the brake pedal out and drill a new hole. So I've got my brake pedal out, and it says, let's see here, it says it's got to be 1 7/8 inches from the center hole to where the new hole goes. So I've got to take some measurements here, measure 1 7/8 inches down here and drill a hole somewhere in this region. And then the new rod, plunger, I forget what this is called exactly, will get mounted to that hole, because you need more, when you go to manual brakes, you need more leverage on your brake master cylinder. So moving the hole up provides more leverage when you push down against that piston. drill a hole. After you get that hole drilled, you've got to press in the supplied pin. I do have a 20-ton press here, but, or I'm sorry, 12-ton. But I was curious if I could do it with the vise, just for anyone else wanting to do this at home and they don't have a press. And it takes a little bit of muscle, but can be done. Used a socket wherever it fell to. Oh, there it is. To kind of go around here so that it presses, you know, into the middle of the socket. And key thing is, might be hard to see that line there. They want that at a 7 o'clock position. It's maybe 6:30. It's close enough. But they don't want it vertical. And that line represents the hole through which the cotter pin goes through on that pin. So you don't want it perfectly vertical. And it should be on this side, I believe. The instructions aren't super clear about which way this pin is supposed to go through the brake lever. The diagram and the instructions show the pedal facing this way with this line at 7 o'clock on this side. So that's the way I did it, even though it comes out this side. And since the OEM is on this side, it should be in the same orientation, so I press it through that way again, even though it wasn't super clear. So this is pressed in now. I can throw this back in the car and throw the plunger on there. Okay, I got a little bit ahead of myself and had to pull the master cylinder back off. Once you get the brake pedal situated, this push rod actually has to go in here first. The head of this is larger, and it's got this, what I think is 2 stainless steel washers glued together. I cannot get these apart. It looks like 2 washers, but I'm pretty sure that's meant to be there. It calls it, in the instructions, I believe, an aluminum spacer, though I don't think it's aluminum. It's not really a spacer, it's 2 washers. But anyway, it's perfectly sized to sit in the end of the master cylinder, and with the head larger, it will keep this, when it's sandwiched between here and the brake master cylinder, like so, it'll keep that pin from being pulled out and thereby losing the proper position on the master cylinder. So that's got to go in, and then from the inside we will thread on this, well, there's a jam nut first, and then this, I don't know what it's called, and then the clevis pin, which is in this bag still, will go through here, through that pin we just pressed in. So let me get this snugged back up, and then I'll throw the brake pad, or the brake lever arm, back in and get it all installed. All right, that brake pedal is back in there. It was a bit of a fight. I can't imagine trying to do this with a dash in the way and a door in the way. This is probably a bit of a nightmare to do on a full car, but it's in there. Once we get everything situated, I may have to address the adjustment on the brake light switches, so that, because I'm not sure that I've got them level, clutch and brake right now, but we'll see. I might have to adjust those switches slightly so that the brake lights don't stay on all the time, but it's in. I need to get some brake lines on order and start running some brake lines from here to the proportioning valve and all around. got all my lines plumbed up, and the brakes I've bled already. We've got the two fronts coming out, and then this is the rear, and then that tees down in the back to supply both rears. This is the remote adjuster. So normally you would adjust this with a knob that sits right here, but this is a different kit that Willwood sells. It goes on here that allows you to adjust the bias on the fly. And I have mounted that adjuster here so we can click through the settings. The cable is super long right now. I've just kind of left, I've put a loop in it and back to here. So there's a little extra play in this than I would like, but I'm not sure that this is the permanent mounting position. I don't want to cut it too short, so we will leave that where it is and just kind of get it set up for the moment. The pedal is back in. It took me, I think, 3 different tries to get this adjusted to the height I wanted it. It sits a little proud of the clutch pedal and definitely proud of the gas, but I think it's about, I get decent pressure right about here, about level with the throttle, so that should allow for some heel toe, but we might have to adjust that in the future. We've got to take it. I have not taken it for a drive yet, so but that is in. I adjusted the sensors for the brake pedal, so we've got functioning brakes. So I really just need to get this thing out and give it a test drive. Okay, after bleeding the brakes a couple times and getting everything adjusted, I am really not getting good pressure in the rear brakes. When I adjust the setting on this proportioning valve to the rear, it's really squishy, and I cannot seem to lock up the rear brakes, and I've bled it a couple times. So based on the advice of the guy who sold me this kit, manualbrakes.com, this line is too high. This one might actually be too high too, but I'm getting good pressure in the front. I can lock the brakes up, so I'm not gonna redo this one right now. But this line that goes to the rear brakes is really high, is well above the reservoir. And so I think there's likely some air trapped right here that I can't get out. So I am going to reroute this line more horizontally over here, or maybe down and around. I'm not sure, but I need to get this line lower so there's not an air bubble up there. And so that the high point would be below the surface level of the fluid inside, so we don't have air in the line. So I'll pull this off, redo this line real quick, and then bleed it again, and then take it for a drive and see if I can get some good pressure in the rear. I actually just ended up grabbing this and using a little tube bender, just kind of bending it downward. And then I rebled the brakes. I got a few bubbles out of it. I'm not convinced that that actually fixed the problem all the way. I really didn't get much air, but I got some, so we're gonna drive it and see if the brakes improved at all. Okay, the last thing I want to tackle before we finish off this video is redoing this a little bit. This thing, in certain circumstances with certain kinds of roads and stuff, will start just kind of oscillating back and forth, and it kind of hits a resonant frequency where it just kind of keeps going. So I want to address that, strengthen it a little bit, and add some lightness. This top bracket that I've used for my switches and my key is all steel. So it's heavy, and I can make this out of just an aluminum panel, I'm gonna put that aluminum panel down here. That's gonna add some lateral stiffness to this by putting a flat panel across here. And then I picked up some press dies. So I haven't used them yet, and I wanna give my try to put my hand to a little bit of that and see if I can put some circles and some nice dies, make it look a little nicer and lighten it up a little bit. So we're not gonna lose a ton of weight here. Maybe a pound, that might even be pushing it, but it'll make this look a little nicer with the key and the switches down here, and it'll keep this thing from vibrating all the time. So let's yank this out and see what we can do. Well, I learned a few things on my first try ever at using these dies, these press dies. So one, I thought I had accounted for enough room between these, but I did not. So I couldn't put the die in this hole here because they're just too close together. So I gotta spread them out more like that on the bottom there. The other thing I learned is it's best to deburr these holes before you put the dies in there and press them in. It's a lot easier to deburr them when they're just regular holes. So a couple things learned. We'll do better on the next one. Well, I ran into an issue. This switch I glued in place. And I'm not going to get it out of there without destroying it. So I am probably going to look for maybe another solution, maybe a little bit smaller switch, or I don't know, because it is going to be tight to try and fit it down here. I measured it and it's tighter than I thought it was going to be. Maybe I should have measured it before I started, but so we may have to remake this whole bracket. I'm not sure, but I think the next episode is going to be all about driver cockpit stuff anyway. There's a number of changes that I want to make over there, including the angle of the seat and probably the steering column. So we will probably look at this further, order some parts, and go ahead and tackle that in the next episode. That's going to do it for this one. I've got a little one down here playing while I work in the garage. I did throw some new shoes here on the car. They are a little bit lighter, and I am trying out these V-Tour P1s, supposed to be super sticky, 200 treadwear tires. So I took it out for one drive last night, and they seem to be as advertised. So that's gonna do it for this one. So thank you for watching, and hit that like button, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you on the next one.
On the gas now. Can't you